So there I was in the middle of a cow pasture in Akron, Ohio, thinking to myself truly that there is really only three types of men in this world. And there are men who learn from observation, and there are men who learn from books, and there are some men that need to pee on the electric fence for themselves. And frankly, I found I was in the third group, and it was a shorter date than I expected.
TJ, we went live.
Bloody brilliant.
All right. So, welcome all.
Welcome. Welcome everybody to episode 147. We are joined tonight with Danie Berger of DIYDanie, and we are excited to get to chat with her tonight. TJ is going to run through our sponsors real quick, and then we will get into the show.
All right, first things first, we get to shout out Hannah and the team over at Surf Prep. If you want made in America abrasives and sanding systems, look nowhere else. There are choices in the market. They might not be made in America, but if you think because they're not that they're for some reason better, shame on you. This is a premium product, and you should be shopping at Surf Prep. And if you do, use the coupon code Sawdust Talk to save a little bit of money. And yes, the channel gets a little bit of a kickback from it, but that helps us go to fun events like Workbench Con here in 2 short weeks, a week, 1 week. Is this next week? Who are you people? Where's my horse?
Week.
Okay, next week. That's so awesome. Right, next person we need to thank is Layla over at Casey Bombshell Designs. If you are into tattoo flash and general geek culture inspired scroll saw art, look no further. Layla is a total badass, and she is also hosting the Sawdust Talk merch store. So if you want to curl up with the person or animal that you love snuggling the closest at night in an extra cozy t-shirt, ready to count the sheep and know that you are supporting a channel like ours, please stop by Casey Bombshell Designs and get yourself a piece of lovely Sawdust Talk sleepwear. Because if you're gonna catch a sleep, do it in style. Sawdust Talk style. Third thing that we need to talk about is Makers for St. Jude. Makers for St. Jude was started by Mike out of Omaha, Nebraska. He is a childhood cancer survivor, and he realized that he could make wood products and sell them and give the proceeds to the St. Jude Children's Charity. We buddied up with him 2 years ago, which is crazy that we've been working alongside Mike for 2 years. In our first year, our fundraising efforts raised $11,000. In year 2, we raised $40,000 for childhood cancer research and family support. And this year, our goal is $50,000. And I know we can make it. And if you want to get involved, get a hold of me, get a hold of Jessie, get a hold of Mike over at Woodworker versus Cancer or Makers for St. Jude, because you make cool stuff. And your cool stuff can do great things for people who could use your help. So get a hold of us, get awesome, and get making. And lastly, I suppose, maybe leastly also, Sawdust Talk does have a Patreon for as little as $5 a month, a little bit less than a black coffee at Starbunkles. You could be supporting our channel and helping Jessie and I get to events, or maybe have Jessie get a slightly better webcam so that you can see her smiling face in 4K instead of 1080p. Think of the resolution, people. Be a part of the revolution and throw $5 a month at Sawdust Talk's Patreon. You know you wanna. But yeah, did I miss anything?
No, you did not.
No, we nailed it. Awesome.
You crushed that.
Thank you so much for coming. We appreciate you so much.
Thank you for having me. Yeah, I loved that spot. I could have listened to you talk sponsors all night. I'm like, yeah, I want a shirt with my dog on it and go to bed in that. Like, yeah, I want some sandpaper.
Look,
I want it all.
I'm saying is that if you've got drywall to sand, look no further
than
the team at Surf Prep. They've got 9-inch sanding donuts with the most effective dust collection hole in the center of it that anybody on the market has brought to date.
Oh, now I'm hungry. My goodness. Can you sell my Patreon too for me, please? Thank you.
Well, we'll do some audio stuff. It'll be fun. It'll be fun time for all.
My goodness. I love it. Thank you for having me though. It's great.
So tell our listeners, who are you? Why are you? Tell them the
Why am
things.
I? That's a deep. Why am I?
Why are you?
who who am I? So I am Danie, or I go in as DIYDanie on the tubes and all social media platforms. I run a weekly YouTube channel where I share DIY projects, woodworking, home improvement. I have something called Creative Beast projects, which are like just a little bit outside the box projects. Like sometimes I do cosplay stuff, sometimes I'm a big fantasy geek. I like to nerd out to sci-fi stuff. So sometimes I like making DIYs for the home around those topics, and showing people how to be nerdy, but not in a kitschy way in their homes. Like how you can still have a very high-end, beautiful home, but celebrate the things that make you who you are. And I just love being goofy. I love telling dad jokes, and that's me.
I love that. Do you know Kat from Boss Babe DIY?
Yeah,
I feel like you guys could be besties.
I have. I've met her. I met her at Workbench Con last year.
She does
Yeah.
cosplay.
Yeah, I know. And that's how we met, because she was like, "Oh my God, I watch your channel and you've got to see my cosplay." And then she was like, "Oh, I play D&D." And I was like, "Me too." And then we ended up shooting the shit for probably close to an hour, just talking about nerdy stuff. I love when people want to talk nerdy stuff.
See,
Oh, it's a
you're
dream.
our people. You don't even know what you've stumbled into this podcast.
Listen, you guys want to just throw everything out and just talk nerdy stuff all night? I'm down. Let's
Okay, so
talk.
let's talk about whether or not we're going to use a pressure pot or a vacuum chamber to cast our dice. Okay,
Oh,
we can
wait.
talk about the
Pressure pot.
merits about whether or not we're going to have compressed itty bitty bubbles and whether the dice will be fair when we make them, or if we're going to be vacuum chambering our dice. We know that we'll have complete resin, and the fairness will be judged by whether we have similarly sized recesses on either side of our dice, assuming that we get a perfect fill.
Yeah, I've never made my own dice. Have you?
No, I have not. I have both of these apparati, but I really just
I'm too afraid. I feel like people would call me out if I ended up making my own dice and I'm like rolling 20s every time. Someone would be like, "That's a lie."
Hey, look, just because I made it and maybe put a weight in a specific spot.
Could you imagine? That would be the most brilliant thing to ever happen that no one would know. But anyways, yeah.
So I know that on Amazon you can get D20s that I think don't roll below 11. Like it's just got doubles of everything on it. Looks like you're rolling a D20. It's like, wow, you roll a lot of 18s. This is insane.
I love that. Oh, what a great world. Yeah, I've never done a epoxy cast for anything like that. I should, though. I don't know why I haven't.
I'm sure we can reach out to the people in our audience, or I don't know. Patrick Jensel will probably have a set of dice.
He's done it all
in 45 minutes if we just send the right.
We're like, "Hey, dude, can you make
2 shout outs in 2 weeks?" Man, I have been ingesting a lot of his stuff this week.
Oh my God, even I gave him a shout out in my video last week, because last year at Workbench Con, he gave me one of his little tape organizers, and then I hung on to that damn, like 6 of them, and I hung on to them for a bloody year. And then just last week, I finally used them in a video, and I was like, "Hey, so I know you gave these to me a year ago, but I finally used them." It was just like, it needed its time. So I gave him a shout out in my videos, and he said he got some orders. So I'm like, all right, supporting businesses. I love it.
That is awesome.
Yeah, he's a good dude.
Think of a better guy to have it happen to, also.
Right? Yeah, I'm excited. He said he's starting up his YouTube channel too, so I'm excited for him. A lot of people are getting into the YouTube space, which makes me really happy to hear, because there's a lot of talented people that deserve to be out there and like share their passions. Truly, it needs to be shared.
Yeah. Patrick's so awesome. Like I just like down to earth dude. Always up to help people, but it's been exciting to see like the changes that he is making with his page, and really going for the like leaning into the change of crafted by machines. Is that what he is now?
Crafted with machines. Yeah, I think it's with
machines.
Although I've made that mistake too. Sorry, Patrick.
Well, he's getting a shout out. He's getting a big shout out right now. So
Yeah.
no, he's great. But yeah, no, I mean, here we like to talk about people and get to know, like, not just like the generic questions of like who,
Yeah.
what's on your workbench. It's like, finding out that you like D&D, and I could probably leave the show right now and you guys would have a great conversation. But
Look, just because my
Listen.
foray into 3D printing dealt specifically with printing minis for my tabletop back in 2016, mind you, before the pandemic and everybody flooded into the Instagrams. Yeah. Yeah. No, I was a Warhammer nerd way before that
Oh my
back in the
God.
90s.
Warhammer's a real thing. And there is a pure nerd culture for that. Like, I didn't realize how big it was. And my friend is also into it. And he started a YouTube channel around Warhammer. And then I started doing research, and it's insane. Like, I don't know what you guys call yourselves, the Warhammies or
That's amazing. I hope it is. I hope
Me
it
too.
is.
But it's like this is why I love like finding these like small little niches in the world, and like and truly what I love social media the most for is that you start to find all these little niches of the world, because like how else would you have found it back in the day? You would never know. We were just nerds in the basement. Now we get
Yeah.
to be nerds in a very large basement. It's still a basement, but it's larger.
Yeah, well, it's my basement. It's not my parents' basement. Thank you very much.
Yeah, now we have like cool shit, and like now I just built a studio and then build cool shit inside it and nerdy stuff, and it's fun. I love being an adult. It's the best.
Yeah, no,
Adult money.
I got into the Warhammer back before I could drive, right? So like
Right.
I would cut all the yards in my neighborhood and save all of my lawn mowing money, hop on my bicycle and ride to the comic book shop,
Yeah.
right? And they
Yeah.
hadn't really gotten into doing like boxes with injection molded pieces in it, right? They were
Right.
still pewter cast and coming from England. And so I
Yeah.
could get like 2 for
Right.
$7, which in 1993 was like Taco Bell for 2 people.
Wait, I have a question though, because with Warhammer, I feel like there's like two worlds within it, because there's like the play, but then I feel like creative people gravitate towards it because they secretly love sitting there in the basement with a big or a big thing in front of their face, and they're like micro painting these tiny little like characters and like all the details that go into it. Like there's like a true art side to Warhammer that not a lot of people talk about, and I think that is like there's a lot why creative people love it so much.
Oh yeah,
Is
no,
that
that's how
true?
they got me. That's how they got me.
But is that the part that you like the most? Is like sitting and like painting
Oh yeah,
all the
no, I don't want to play
characters and,
Warhammer. I
like,
just want to get the minis and paint them.
okay. Okay, yeah. See, this is it though. It's because it's a creative nerd game.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and the problem was in the 90s, like we had dial-up internet, right? Like I couldn't just jump onto a Reddit thread, right?
Yeah.
Because it
Hey,
didn't
go to the comic
exist,
book shop.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd have to tear a thing off of a flyer of somebody else who had enough Warhammer figures to play Warhammer. And then I didn't have a car, right? So it's not like I could just drive all my gear over to the other side of town to find one of 12
You
people
had your
in
little
St.
box.
Louis
It's like the fish tack toolbox, that
Oh,
like goes in the
yeah.
compartments with all
Oh,
the
yeah.
little paints. Yeah. I
Yeah,
love
no, that wasn't
for you.
really an option. So I just convinced all of my friends to buy and paint Warhammer figures with me. So we'd listen to ska because
Adorable.
it was,
Obviously.
on trend at the time. And, yeah, it was like ska and drum and bass, and then paint Warhammer figures for hours at a
Oh
time.
my God. Please tell me you were listening to like Du Hast in the basement while like painting.
That song became popular after my Warhammer days. That's how long it
I just
was.
wanted to picture that so badly. Somebody
Yeah.
did it. I know it.
Yeah, no, TJ just aged himself. I have this beautiful baby face, but I am secretly an older
Elder.
man.
He's
Yeah.
secretly an elder amongst the youngins.
Yeah, no, this was like we'd listen to the specials and I don't know, jungle music on speakers that I got at a garage sale. Because like
Of
you're a
course.
greasy kid, but like, you're cutting grass.
Yeah.
You got more money than the richest man in Babylon, right? Like I'm buying speakers at garage sales for $10. Let's do this.
I love garage sales. Oh man, I think I like grew up on garage sale stuff like my whole life.
Mhm.
Cheap. cheap as fuck from the beginning. Actually, my dad instilled that. But like, are you guys big garage sale people?
Oh, I love it.
When I can, yes.
Do you feel like the art of garage sales have like been lost? Speaking of that, like now we're at the age of thrifting, that do you feel like nobody's talking about garage sales as much as they should be?
I think that people who do garage sales can check the value of the things before they put them out instead of just like being grouchy and not wanting to put out price tags.
Yeah.
Right. So like you can't get a 50-pound box of comic books for like $8 anymore. Right.
Right.
No, I mean, I would say my favorite garage sale we ever went to when I was a kid was when I got my Nintendo, like old school cartridge,
Nice.
blow on it, stick it in.
Yeah.
And it was like $10. And my dad was like, cool, here you go. And we sat in the basement and we played Mario like nonstop. And
That's the life.
yeah, it was amazing. Like, but you don't always find stuff like that. And I also feel like garage sales have changed a bit where you go to a garage sale and you're like, that's really freaking cool. And then they are charging like way too much for it. It's like,
But here's the thing. I have a theory about garage sales. Garage sales are people just trying to get rid of the shit in their homes and make a little money. So you can heckle people at garage sales. You can get them down because there's a point where they just want to get rid of it. Where you go to like a thrift store, those people are there to make money. Like they're there, they have acquired this item for the sole purpose to make the money. Whereas that thrift like garage sales, this is just like somebody pulled it out of grandma's basement and they're just like, I just don't want this shit in my house anymore. So you're like, okay, I know this is worth 50, but I got $20 in my hand right now, and I will give you this $20 for you, and I will take this off your hands. And they're like, just take it. All right. And then you're just like, and then you walk away going, yeah, you can't do that in a thrift store. No, ma'am.
No.
Yeah. My favorite fly fishing rod I ever had was from a garage sale. Yeah.
Exactly. This is what I'm saying. And I love, God, it feels so good when you do find those like grandma basement. They had like toys from back in the day, and the baseball cards and the Star Wars toys. And like they're the ones that have the big like at like, you guys know what I'm talking. Well, maybe
I do.
Yeah, like the big one, like they have those toys, and when you see them, you snatch them up right away. Oh, I just love that thrill.
Right. And then you have to convince your significant other that it not only deserves to be in your house, but that it also needs a display location.
Absolutely.
So that your friends and peers can come in and be like, oh, where'd you get that? Which is the whole point.
Exactly. The whole point. Yeah. Well, luckily, because I'm the wife in the situation, it's happy wife, happy life. So I'm just like, oh, it's staying.
Nope. That's fair.
I mean, like that would work. Yeah, that works on me.
Although no, I'm just kidding. I have rooms. I pick nerdy rooms, or that's why I built a studio, so I can keep all my nerdy shit up here and kind of keep it out of the house, sort of.
Can you talk about your house? And I mean, because you've done a ton of stuff on your house. I mean,
yeah.
It's like a house you bought that was a total fixer-upper and you've just been tackling one room at a time, or like what's the situation there?
We bought it in 2020. I think at the end of 2020, start of 2021 or something. I can't, oh my God, what year is it? Who am I? We were at the, like pre-COVID at the worst of it. So we got pretty lucky. Yeah, we moved in, and this house was like, wasn't great. It was our first house. We bought it for super cheap. It was a massive fixer-upper. I like watched the home tour that I did originally, and I'm just like so flabbergasted as like how much work we've actually put into it over time. And even now we still want to rip the damn thing down and start over. But I'm proud of the work that we've done in it. Like we took down all of the ceilings and exposed all the joists, and it like really, it is like an old farmhouse. It's a very old 1970, I think it's 1978. Sorry, 1978, 1878, apologies. I'm like, that's not that old. A house. And so it had character, but it was just so ruined because people just over time tried to modernize it and just take that character away. And it was just so ruined. So we tried to bring a lot of that character back, tore down ceilings, tore down walls, certain things were definitely on a budget. Like I still have a lot of work to do in the kitchen space, and but I think we've done a pretty darn good job at it so far. I built in a hidden bookshelf, like
Mhm.
like a hidden bookcase. What am I saying? This is what happens when you get me to talk at 10 o'clock at night. Oh, it's 10 my time. It's 9
Do
o'clock
you
your
have a
time.
Scooby-Doo door in your house that leads to a hidden chamber?
Yes. So I was like, I always wanted one of those hidden doors. And we had like this terrible closet. And I was like, what do you do with this closet? Because it's like skinny and it's super long. And I was like, no, like things were just getting lost in the back. So I said, screw this. So I cut it in half, turned the first half into a linen closet, but the side wall was in our guest room. So I blasted a hole in the side of that room, put in a bookshelf, and then like made it a secret door with like a book that you have to like open up, and it opens into it's just a storage room, but
That's
it's the coolest storage room. You know what I mean? Like I love houses that have these like unique things that are just like,
Mhm.
hey, did you find the secret room? And it's like, where is it? So I like oddities, like house. Like I want a Willy Wonka house. You know what I mean? Don't we
Yeah.
all though?
Yes.
I think
Yeah.
you're
It's
doing really
because
good
we
at that
watched
though.
the Addams Family movie a bunch of
Thanks.
times as
Right?
kids, and like,
Yeah,
and then
exactly. That's why it started. Like I'm like everybody wants that. You know what I mean? I don't know. I just like I'm just a big kid with money now, and I'm not mad about it. It's just, like money has just created chaos into building the things that I wanted to build when I was a kid. Like, like I got a chance to make myself a wizard staff that like has an epoxy stone at the top and lights up, and it's like USB rechargeable, and it's like the coolest. I fucking love it. I'm like, I just stare at it now, but I love it. Why would I create it? I don't
well,
know.
and then imagine you find yourself in a wizard-based emergency in the not too distant future. You're so
That's what I'm
ready.
saying. I am always ready for any kind of those emergencies. Yeah, I just built like a fantasy celestial mirror last week. It's actually going up on my channel on Saturday. I'm very excited for that. Like, there's just no reason for it. I just wanted it. I was like, that'd
Okay.
be cool. I need a beer. So let's build it. And then that's it.
All right. Well, then let's brag about that a little bit more so that we can feel like we got the inside scoop
Oh,
before things
nice.
come out
Okay.
on Saturday.
Yes. Well, okay. So I've been working on I have a giant studio that's not done yet. Like there's everything's still unfinished. But I'm slowly chipping away at it. It's 2 floors. There's a studio up top, and then down below is going to be the wood shop, where I'll make stuff with wood or weld or whatever, do epoxy pours down there. But up here is for like more like the creative stuff, because I also do art and stained glass. So like it kind of like there's different areas. So up here is kind of like I call it the tree house, because it just feels like that. It's like a tree fort. Like when you're a kid, you just want to run to the tree fort and bring all your friends to it and play video games and do like all the cool stuff in the tree fort. That's what it feels like up here. That's kind of like the vibe I want it to give off. So when I'm building stuff for this space, like I want it to feel that Wonka vibe. Like I want nothing to match and everything to feel like creative chaos. And I'm not, I want it to like be aesthetically pleasing, but also kind of like make you stop and stare at every corner and every nook and cranny. Like everything's got personality and a story to tell. So when I was like, okay, I need a mirror up here because I'm filming, and sometimes, you got to like make sure you look okay, or your outfit's not, your shirt's not on backwards or something. So I was like, I need a mirror up here. So if I'm going to build a mirror, we're going to build it nerdy. So I was like, I want it to be like sci-fi, fantasy, Lord of the Rings-esque, maybe with a bit of gothic twist with it. And really wanted to add some stained glass elements, because it's a new medium that I've gotten into over the last year, and I love it. It just like screams, it makes my soul scream. And I love getting into creative projects like that. So I was like, okay, I gotta use my wood skills and use my stained glass skills and build something dope. So then, yeah, I just kind of winged it. I'm not gonna lie, I like went in with absolutely no plan. I was like, I'm just gonna buy a mirror and then we'll see what happens. Which honestly in my books never turns out well, but I think it turned out okay. Like I'm happy with it. I added lights in behind it, so like the glass just glows. It kind of feels very Doctor Strange-esque. Like I don't know if you ever seen the Marvel movies with like, I don't know, it kind of gives that vibe. it's purple, and I don't know, just it literally feels like you're in a portal to another world, which is kind of dope in my books.
And it brings you joy, correct?
Oh, the most. That's what I mean. Like, build the shit that brings you joy. Why are we spending our time, our energy of life building shit we don't want to make? Like, just stop. You know,
I
like,
want you to talk more about the stained glass, though, please.
yeah. Oh my God, I'd love.
Is that how you got into the stained glass, though? Was the mirror?
No. So my mom used to stained glass like a long time ago with her partner, and they loved it. They were so good at it, and I was like always like, oh, I really love that medium. But it was just always something I wanted to get into. I'm a person who likes to collect hobbies, as most of us like to say. You know, we're just we're just people with ADD that undiagnosed. You know what I mean? So yeah, I collect a lot of hobbies, but I always wanted to try it, and I was building these partition walls up in the studio, and I just always saw in my brain to have kind of like industrial style windows that would be very colorful, but over time I wanted to replace each of the industrial panes with like a stained glass piece, and I want each stained glass piece that I build to just be an essence of my personality. So something sci-fi, something fantasy. I'm sure there'll be some Pokemon up there. Like, I'm just nerdy stuff everywhere. And I love flowers, so I'll probably do something with flowers. So I decided the first thing I'm ever going to stain glass is this very intricate, very challenging, intermediate dragon that I even ended up like customizing the design that I got off of an Etsy creator to do it. And just went for it. I shared it on my YouTube, the full process. I fucked up a lot, but it was so fun. There's just something so amazing about getting into projects that just, I don't know, like like you're getting cut, you're making mistakes. Like, I don't know. There's just so much on the line when it comes to glass, and I love the idea that glass is just this living entity. Like, it's I don't know how to explain it, but there's just something so beautiful about it. It's just a very romantic medium, and I just love it. Every time I get to make something in stained glass, it just brings me somewhere filled with joy. I just can't explain it. So I know that this is not a hobby that's going to come and go. I think this is a type of hobby that I'm going to get better at over the years, and I feel that way towards welding too. I just love welding shit together. I love it. I love the smell of cutting metal. Like, you know, it's just, there's something so, I don't know, erotic about it that I can't explain it. That's a weird word to use, but it's the only word I can think of at the time. But there's just something about making stuff from glass or from like one material. And I don't know, maybe that's why I like
Using
making.
metal, using the fourth state of matter.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's so fucking
right,
cool.
right. So like, there's not a lot of other opportunities for plasma to exist
Right?
on planet Earth, right? And we just harness it. A little
It's
trigger
just
for
so
some of
freaking
us, for a
cool.
little stinger,
Mhm.
right? But
Yeah.
like, then you get to take something that if you held it in your hand, you couldn't manipulate it that well,
No,
right? And fuse two of them together. Welding is the coolest stuff.
it's the coolest. I just freaking love it. Actually, Sam's the one that taught me how to weld too. And after she taught me, I went home and I literally, like, the next day I bought a welder. And I just said, this is for me. This is definitely for
What'd you
me.
get?
Ooh. I have the Lincoln. Ooh, I don't. I'd have to. Can I search it? Am I going to lose you guys if I search it? Do we care?
No.
Does it make welding like this, or does it make welding like this?
It's
Is
the
there
Lincoln Electric, the 215 and multi-purpose welding machine, the MIG 215. That's it.
That's a
We have
fun
Um,
this
one.
one. So it does
I love
it,
it. It
right?
does. Yes, it does. It does. You can do both. I probably would never take with it, but no, it's why? It's
Because you
just fine.
can, and girls are really good at TIG welding.
That's fair. I will try it. I know I will. I actually
You
really
should.
enjoyed Maker Camp because I went into the Lincoln Electric like camp tent, and I was like, guys, please show me something new. And like I hung out with them for a long time, and they taught me some new stuff, and it was so fun. So yeah, I'm a big fan. I can't
Further
wait.
proof that we were 4 feet from each other.
Well, that's it. That's what I'm saying. Like I'm shocked. I feel like we probably did. I'm sure we probably did. I met so many people, and I was perma drunk like the entire time. So it's just like normal.
But yeah, no, you need to try using the TIG on your machine if it offers it,
Okay.
because it makes itty bitty tiny welds. It makes
Right.
itty bitty teeny tiny welds.
Yeah. Okay.
Lay those
Fair. I'll
dimes.
get there. Say that again.
I said lay those dimes. Just
Mhm.
Okay. Well, I'm excited. I love learning new stuff. So yeah,
Or get the stick welding stinger out and build yourself a bridge, because that's what stick welding is for.
is it actually?
Well, I mean, they use it to make skyscrapers.
I mean,
Mhm.
fair. All
So
right.
like that little multi-process box that you've got there, you could build a bridge from one part of your roof to the other,
And how
and
great
then
is
drive
that?
a car across it, because those welds are like 70,000 pounds strong.
I'm just gonna make a bridge from my studio to my house. That's the deal. I'll learn how to do it and then start building bridges.
I strongly suggest it. It's a hoot and a half.
It
It'd be
sounds like a hoot and a half.
Yeah, and stick welding's
Imagine.
fun because there's no gas, right? You just have your
Right.
electrode and a
Yeah.
little. They make them now. They're like the size of, I don't know, a bulky purse, right? And they weigh like 30 pounds, and you can
Wow.
weld 1/8 inch thick steel together with it.
Once my workshop downstairs is done, then I'll start, investing and playing. Right now it's just looking at insulation and that's about it. I've been like I have a 3-port garage, and I've been building in this like teeny tiny little corner looking at insulation for God knows how long. It's been such a slow process, but this year we're finishing it, so I'm excited. And I've had an outfeed table for like waiting to get hooked up with a new saw. Like it's just been sitting there. I'm like so excited to finally get everything hooked up in the workshop and like actually start using real tools.
What saw did you get?
It was the saw stop or right now I'm using their like compact saw, but they gave me their big table saw that I've had for like a year and a half, because I was gonna start working on the workshop, and then it just got put on hold, and then it just sat there. So it's ready. I just need to get there. So slowly. But it's okay. It's fine. I've been working on the studio and getting into stained glass, and I don't think I would have gotten into stained glass if I'd worked on the workshop first. So I'm glad. I think everything has like a way of working itself out at the end of the day, and focusing up here is where I needed to be right now. And then come the summer, when I can open up the garage doors and let like the air in and, start working on the workshop, like that's going to be a good feeling, I think,
Yeah, are you
Yes.
guys buried under snow right now?
So much. This has been a bad year. Like we've had Snowmageddon this year. It's brutal. I'm like so over winter. Even as a Canadian, I feel like I can rightfully say that it's been a brutal one. Do you guys get a lot of snow where you are?
In St. Louis, yes, surprisingly.
Okay. Yeah, okay.
Right now we've had 2 snow days this week, on Tuesday and today.
Yeah.
Kids will probably be back at school. We had 2 snow days, not last week, but maybe the week prior also.
Oh, so you're getting a lot of snow.
Yeah, well, I mean, for us, a lot of snow is like 6 or 7 inches, which
Okay.
She
Yeah.
laughs at you.
yeah,
Get out of here.
yeah. But for whatever reason, our plows just can't keep up with it. Earlier this month, at the beginning of February, we got like 11 over the
Wow.
course of a couple days.
That's crazy.
And that was tough to keep up with. But it's not like 2 feet of snow. That's insane.
We have way more than 2 feet of snow right now. Like it's been wild. It snowed like for 4 days straight, and I want to say like we have snowbanks that are probably I want to say like 10 feet high right now. Like in some spots, it's massive. We have so much.
So like in the parking lots where they like make the giant mountains.
Yeah, like they're the kids. It's so good for the kids, right? But us as adults, we're just like, oh no. 'Cause all you're thinking about is like, how am I going to get my car out of the driveway? This is when you get truck with 4-wheel drive. I go nowhere without truck. It's my savior. Love it. But yeah, we spent most of our weekend trying to just get our vehicles out of the driveway because we had so much snow. It's such a waste of time, you know? Can't be
Yeah, I
bothered.
found out that shoveling 3 inches of snow 3 times is way better than shoveling 11 inches of snow 1 time.
Mm-hmm.
True.
Okay. I have a 2-part question for you.
Yeah.
One, does the Canadian winters feed into maybe like seasonal depression stuff? I know you talked on your page a little bit about you know, maybe like losing the spark for a moment or creativity. I really want to hear you talk about that a little bit more.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I think seasonal depression is like it's a real thing. I mean, we get into these points where, like I said, a lot of us want to be able to work in our garages, and not everybody has the capabilities to have heaters in their garage. Like it's sometimes being creative is a summer thing, or their creative outlet is gardening, or building out in their backyard. And when you can't be creative, like that seasonal depression hits in, and it gets dark faster. And I think a lot of people come to me and tell me like very dark stories about where they are creatively and how they just can't seem to find the energy or the emotional energy to just do the simple things that they love when it comes to creativity, whether it's drawing or painting. They don't have an original idea in their head, and and I go through it too. Or you're just going through a really hard time. As I've had a pretty rough, I'd say, few months myself. We've had a lot of family members pass away to cancer, 2 of them, one to mental health. And it's just, it's a real thing. And I think creativity has the power to cure a lot. It's just finding how to be creative in those dark moments. And I think people are always just kind of afraid to play, and you forget that playing is a sense of being creative, because like people are like, oh well, if I'm not creating something beautiful and a finished masterpiece, then it's what's the point? It's like, no, like just go. And even if you're just like somebody who just wants to use your hands, like just go and like cut some pieces of wood, or maybe stain some wood, like just get doing something that you used to love, and just like doing small acts of joy, I think can really start to bring that serotonin back. Like when I was feeling at my lowest, I like to go into my studio and organize all of the creative things that I love to do. So as an example, I went and organized all the stained glass that I was going to use one day. I didn't have anything in me to actually stained glass anything, but it was just being around it and organizing it, and organizing all the tools that I'm going to one day use when I feel that creative urge. It just made me feel better. And I think just doing small acts of that for yourself, of joy for yourself, can make a big difference. I don't know, what do you guys do when you're feeling like uninspired or uncreative? Like how do you get yourself out of your slump?
I make a mess, or I clean one up and then make a new one right on top of it.
See, you clean. It's something about the act of cleaning. I think it like unmuddies the head,
Yeah, cleaning is kind of fun in my shop also, because
Right?
I'm a wood turner on a lathe, right? So
Right.
like I blow big curly shavings all over the place, and so like there's just a mess everywhere. But
Yeah.
my dust collector has a 4-inch hose coming off of it, and I connected that to I don't know, a 4-foot length of 4-inch PVC
Hmm.
with like a little street elbow on the end of it.
Yeah.
And so like I've got this snuffleupagus trunk that I can drag all over the floor of my shop, and it's just sneefing up wood shavings left and right before it goes into the cyclone. And it's
Yeah.
just, it gets it up. And I don't know, it's vacuuming in that way is actually kind of fun. And like, I don't
It
have to
is
do a
fun.
good job because like I'm never gonna have a clean shop.
Yeah,
Like
I
like
agree with that. Yeah.
that doesn't work for wood turning. It's like it's
Yeah.
never
It's good
clean.
enough.
Yeah. But like it can be much less messy. And sometimes just getting out there and doing that and being like, oh well, look at all this room I have to make more shavings.
Yeah.
Right. And so I
Yeah.
throw a piece of wood on there and not have any direction to go with it. And I'll just start making a mess. And if I get tired or I get bored, I stop.
Right. But just making a mess feels fun, right? There's no goal to what you're doing. It's just doing. I
Yeah,
don't know.
some
The
days it's
act of doing.
actually the flow state of just holding the tool
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
doing it,
Yep.
right? Like if I end up with a bowl at the end of it, cool, right?
Yeah.
Awesome.
But no
But
pressure. There's no pressure.
sometimes it's just turning the world off, hearing the
Yeah.
tool, peeling the bowl away,
Yeah.
and then doing the thing that I don't have to think about doing,
Yep.
right?
Yeah.
Like you have to be in the
It's a
moment and
true
you're
turn
there.
off.
Yeah.
Yeah. Turn off, tune out.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about
That's
you, Jessie?
I think for me, it's more about staying connected with people. I mean, the community in a whole. I mean, we have all of us. We've created these like really strong bonds with people, and
Yeah.
I think you think a lot of people look at some of us and they're like, oh my gosh, everything you do is so perfect and so pretty and whatever. So I think that being able to share like the not so pretty parts is really
Yeah.
helpful to people.
Yeah.
I would never want somebody to come to my page and be like, oh my gosh, everything is so like perfect. It's like, no, it's freaking not. Like,
Yeah.
it's dirty, it's messy, but like, I want to show you my process and help
Yeah.
you see that, you know, you can get there. Aside from that, I mean, if I'm feeling really down, I usually buy another animal.
You mean you
Which the
go to the
beards
park and steal a duck? Is that what happened?
the beard's probably listening to this and he's like, don't you dare bring home another animal.
Animals they do bring joy though, don't they?
They do. They bring me
They're
joy.
support animals. Are you guys like music listeners? Like when you're creating, do you guys listen to podcasts or music, or what do you do?
Music for me, for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I either do it in silence like a crazy person,
that is
right?
crazy.
Well, like sometimes I also will intentionally just drive with no music like a crazy person.
I do that too, actually.
'Cause, like,
Weirdly. Yeah, I get
sometimes
it.
that's
I get
when
that.
you get it, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But then if not, well again, I'm a male over the age of 40, so I have a single Spotify playlist with 6,500 songs on it, you know, 80% of which I know every bit of, right? And
Yeah,
so
of
like,
course.
you know, I can throw that on and I have a sound system in the shop and so I can
Nice.
turn it up
Okay.
to Roberta Flack levels of loud and just go.
That's what I always tell people. Like when you're feeling at your lowest, go into your creative space, whatever space makes you feel the most joyful, the most creative. That could be a small corner in your home, that could be a big workshop, doesn't matter. Go either put headphones on, start playing your favorite music, and then just play. That's it. Sometimes there's just something like I'll turn on some like certain days I'll just turn on like I'll be listening to Lord of the Rings, or some days I'm listening to like screamo music or like rock oldies or like whatever, and like it depends on the day or what I'm making. I'd like to listen to music to like bring me into whatever I'm trying to build. So if it is fantasy, I'll listen to fantasy music kind of thing. It gets me in the mood. But like there's just something about that just it's so I don't know, it just transforms your soul in a weird way, I think. Music and creativity is one and the same, I think. It's
Absolutely.
unless you're a crazy person and just don't, but that's fine.
Sometimes I want to hear the tools peeling the wood. I'm making my own music.
But that's fine. No, I totally get it. Like when I do stained glass, I love to hear the glass cutting. There's something very
The sound of
visceral
that
about it.
steel tool wheel rolling over the glass.
Yeah. Well, I said actually I talked about this in my video that's going out on Saturday. Like, there's something I get like, those memory recalls when either like a smell or a sound that like recalls to your childhood or something. Every time I hear glass being cut, all it makes me think of is Julianne Moore in Jurassic Park 2 when she's she's in the trailer hanging off the cliff and she's on the glass and she's like moving on the glass before it's like breaking. All you can hear is the tink, 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 tink. And like,
Mhm.
it's every time I'm cutting glass, I just get this memory of that from my childhood watching that movie. I was just like, wow, every time. So I don't know. There's just like silly things like that that I love. So I like listening to that because it brings me happiness. So I get it. I get
I
it, I
don't
guess.
at all though. It's
You don't what?
I don't think it's silly at all. Like
Oh, okay.
I think it's amazing. I mean, I'm kind of the same way when it comes to like music, and it's like depends on the day, it depends on the mood. Sometimes it's country,
Yeah.
sometimes it's rock, sometimes it's some angry stuff. Like, but it's like
Yeah.
whatever gets you out of yourself and into your creative space. So I love that
Right.
you
Oh, I
described
think
that.
everyone should do it. Even if it's sad music, like if you're feeling sad or heartbroken, go listen to sad, heartbroken music while going and being creative, though. Like it will
Yeah,
bring you out of it. It
it
works.
is okay to blast Wilco and cry while you're crafting. It's
It is okay to
okay.
listen to Linkin Park, okay?
Yeah.
I don't care what anyone says. I still like Linkin Park.
Yeah, no, that's okay. You can listen to
Or
sad
Wilco.
bastard music and make beautiful things. It's fine.
Absolutely. I completely agree with you.
Look, all
Yeah.
I'm saying is that not every woodworking project deserves the power and intensity of Iggy and the Stooges, right? That doesn't mean that they couldn't, but they don't all deserve it.
I don't know about that. The world deserves Iggy and the Stooges. But like when you look at a project, I always find sometimes I like certain projects will recall certain music of what I was listening to at that time, or
Mhm.
I do a lot of audiobooks while I'm building. So like certain audiobooks will like the book lives in the project because I'll
Mhm.
listen to it a full book while I'm building this one thing. And then all of a sudden every time I look at that project, it like the book lives in there. It's like a weird thing for me, but
No,
love
it
it.
totally makes sense.
Does
I
it?
can't
Okay.
drive southbound on Interstate 55 without thinking about listening to Black Rebel Motorcycle Club.
Oh,
Like
so
I just
good.
like I can't.
Yeah, it's
There's
so
there's
good.
just like time and space and like a personal, mental, emotional high, and like I will always have that stretch of completely boring, nothing to look at highway in Illinois, right? But like I was in the zone. I was in a good place.
Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
best feeling. Oh, I love when that happens. Oh,
So,
it's great.
so we talked a little bit about your stained glass quilt industrial window thing that you've got going on, which is
Yeah.
captivating. We didn't get to talk very much about cosplay, and Jessie and I
Mm,
secretly love people that do cosplay. I'm
yeah.
surprisingly less secretive about it. I mean, I don't get to do dress ups that often, but I do have little kids, so I get to dress up a little bit.
I
Um,
feel like you're a secret class player deep down. You want to like
I mean, I would if I
you should just
could.
do it. Why not? Why don't you?
Love to. I would
What's
love to.
stopping you?
I mean, like I get well. So right now, the most popular characters in my home are like the Paw Patrol, right? And so like
Okay, so.
pretty straightforward cosplay, so to speak.
Yeah, but I'm saying like you don't have to cosplay as that. You could cosplay as anything that you want to. It
Again,
doesn't
quick shout
matter.
out to Patrick Jensel. Patrick, I need my life-size Gundam suit, and I need it now.
Oh, Gundam Wing is so good. Are you a big anime fan?
Indeed.
Oh, me too. Okay, what's your favorite anime?
Okay, so this is tricky. Are we talking like feature-length movies, or do you want to talk about serial anime?
I think serial. Because I think of like when I think of anime, like I don't go to movies first. Like there's like the Ghibli films, like that, shape you. But like I'm talking like Escaflowne, DBZ. We're talking Gundam Wing.
Sure.
Like whatever floats your boat.
So
What's your
I am
jam?
of the ilk when it comes to Gundam. I like Iron-Blooded Orphans, or as I like to call it, Super
Okay.
Murder Space Degrassi Junior High. 'Cause that's what it is.
Okay.
A bunch of middle school aged kids that all have jobs like grown-ups, but they
That's
super
all
murder
anime
each
is.
other in
So
robot suits. Yeah, it's pretty fun.
yeah.
I recently slowly worked my way through Delicious in Dungeon on Netflix, and
So
there
good.
is
Why is it so good? I cannot understand and
there
why
is a
monsters
further
look
book in the
delicious.
series that I haven't read yet, but the show has its final episode on a bit of a cliffhanger. It hasn't wrapped it up yet, but I think the people involved were like, we're gonna take a break for a while. We're gonna do some other stuff. So like that's fun.
We lost Jessie. She's like, I'm out, guys. You're talking
She's
to him.
probably coughing or getting a drink real quick. I think she might be a little bit ill. So like I really liked Trigun. I liked Hellsing.
Yeah.
Dragon Ball Z on Toonami was like an after school thing for
Yeah.
me, but like I was an outside play kid, so like I didn't do a ton
Right.
of after school TV,
Right.
right? The Netflix Castlevanias are like a combination nostalgia boner, but also like surprisingly good American produced, but probably Chinese made
Yeah, for sure.
anime. But
But
like,
yeah.
like it scratches a lot of itches for me, and I let a lot of stuff pass on that because that was
It's
foundation.
just good. It's good though. It's a good story.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
But like talking about anime and not talking about like Akira and Ghost in the Shell and Ninja Scroll,
Oh, yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Is like
Childhood
impossible
classics.
for me because like those were the VHSs
Yeah. These are the ones
that-
you had on like box sets of.
yeah,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. For
like
sure.
back before Borders existed,
Yeah.
right? Before I had a PlayStation 1, I had a VHS of Akira.
I love
Right.
that. I love that.
And so like that was huge for me. Ninja Scroll was huge. Ghost in the Shell was huge. And
Yeah,
like that
Ghost in
kind
the
of stuff
Shell.
was foundational for me also, right?
Yeah.
Because it was feeding me sci-fi in ways that like my brain
Couldn't even
hadn't-
comprehend.
Yeah.
Yeah. Agreed. Yeah. That's what I love about anime. It just like it totally stretches the world that we think possible. There's nothing there's no box in anime, and even when they make a box it can still expand past it. Like I love Naruto. It's one of my favorite, and like, oh, you think they've reached their highest power? No ma'am. Like they just keep going, and like why not? Dragon Ball Z, like it's just endless.
Yeah, no, we're at level 4 Super Saiyan most recently in Dragon Ball,
don't know.
which still is happening. And
Yeah,
I still
they've
haven't
gone
even stuck
God
a toe
mode.
into One Piece yet, also. So like
Same. I haven't done One Piece either.
I know it
I
exists, and
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I like everything that happens in it, right?
Yeah.
But I know that if I start, I'm gonna fall off the face of the earth. It's the same thing
I
with like
know.
Game of Thrones. Okay. I love everything that happens in Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Like I'm here for it.
Yeah,
Right.
same.
And I would be so good at being a fan of Game of Thrones.
Yeah,
And
you can cosplay it.
That's the problem, right? Do you know how good I would be at being a heroin junkie? I would be so good at being a junkie.
Yeah.
But
Okay, so you're saying you have an addictive personality.
No, I'm saying that once I start, I'd have a tendency to get carried away.
An addictive personality. We're saying the same thing.
You can use your words, I'll use mine.
Okay, great. Love that for you.
But yeah, no, I would be so good at watching Game of Thrones. I've seen a season of it and it was great. But then
Wait, so you never finished Game of Thrones?
Nope.
What?
It was a PlayStation time thing. So like we were, I don't know, like 8 months pregnant with our first kid. And
okay, that's fair. I get it.
We saw an episode where, there's like 2 young kids in a tree and they've been burnt. And we were like, you know what? We're gonna
can't watch this right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Put a pin in it. I mean, yeah, you do need to watch it one day though. Like I've already watched the series like 3 times over.
Oh, I assure you, I'm going to love it. I know I will.
I know you will. And you'll want to cosplay it, and I hope you do one day.
Yeah, I make a cute Daenerys, I tell you what.
The blonde wig, I was thinking the same thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the thing is when my nieces come over, it can double as an Elsa thing. Like, we're going to be in good shape.
Yeah, I mean, I've always just wanted to be Jon Snow, but that's fine. I just want the brutish face, He just has a or I just want to be
Jon
the
Snow
girl.
constantly looks like somebody farted in the room with him, and he's trying to figure out who it was.
That's what I love about him. Aren't we all doing that? Like, or he's holding it in, being like, "Wasn't me."
Right? Also,
Love
it's
it.
cold out here. God.
Yeah, right. So I like the lots of layers. It keeps it all in. But yeah, in terms of cosplay, sorry, I'm gonna bring it back around. I would say I'm not like a massive cosplayer. I'm a cosplayer with cause. So sometimes, like, if the cause calls for it, like I don't think I make cosplay for the joy, like just like, oh, I want to be that character and go to this event. I've cosplayed like D&D characters. I cosplayed Sun from Princess Mononoke. But yeah, I definitely haven't done enough. But I think my skill sets now are definitely high enough that I probably could make something pretty dope if I wanted to.
Oh, heck
If
yeah.
I don't know. I haven't been inspired to be like, oh my God, I gotta make that yet. You know what I mean? It's gonna hit me one day, and I'm sure I
Okay.
will then make it. But until
So
that
we'll make
day,
you a Katamari Damacy cosplay for Maker Camp this year, and you can just cause mayhem running
I
around the field with a
that would be
giant
amazing.
ball with stuff stuck to it.
Oh my God, I would love that. I think we should just turn Maker Camp into it's Maker Camp, but with cause play.
There you go. Like they need another tent. Oh my gosh, it was overwhelming. Last year was my first Maker Camp I'd ever been to, and it was
It's
awesome.
fun. Oh my God. It was actually my first Maker Camp too. I had a ball. I can't wait to go back. Like I had so much fun. It's just fun to be creative around creative people and talk
Yeah.
creative things with creative people. It's like these are your people. I like talked and people who have never gone, I think I talked them into going because I was like, no, you gotta go. Like it's just so much fun.
Yeah, I got friends that like hanging out in my shop, and I'm like, no, you don't understand.
It's not the same.
You haven't, you don't know how much fun you're gonna have.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't though. And it's not like workbench con fun. Like it's like a different level of fun because you're actually creating things while there with your friends. Like there's just something because we all get like friends will get together like maker friends and like you don't make anything, you just get together. And I think like that's what workbench con is a little bit more. You go to learn how to be,
But Maker
make
Camp is
make
parallel
money.
play for all of us ADD spazzes.
Absolutely. You go to 10 to 10 to 10 to 10, and then you go make a ring, and then you go and weld something, and then you're making a wood bowl, and then, it's just like, how fun is that? I don't know.
And
Like
then Nick
I had a ball.
Berkjold sends you an axe handle, and then you go on a quest for 4 days to
Why not?
make a
Yeah.
warhammer. Yeah, totally. That makes sense.
Like, and coming back with
I'm
all like the fun things that I came back with, I was like, that's so fun. When would I ever get to make that? Like,
yeah.
it's so
I'm
fun.
super bummed that you aren't going to be at Workbench Con this year.
I'm
But
sorry.
you do have plans during the
Yeah.
time of Workbench Con
Yeah.
with their lovely maker that we all know and love.
Yeah, Sam. She's her and we have a real love affair for each other. Yeah, we found each other and then we just never stopped being obsessed with each other. It's just she's like my favorite person on this planet. So we love to make together. She was like my very first true maker friend. And like I flew down to New York to see her. And then we made a big table together and like it was just that was the pure joy of like creating with friends. And so since then like we make it like it's a thing now, like twice a year I'll go to her and she comes to me and we just go and make whatever that person's doing that week, that we just come down and help them do whatever they're doing. Because it just also you're in a creative slump, you go spend time with creative friends because
Yeah.
that will bring you back. So when I'm feeling low, like I'm like, Sam, I need you to come see me. And she'll, book a flight. I've been going through a really hard time. She was supposed to come in January, actually. So I ended up pushing her. So that's why she's coming now. And yeah, I'm like, I'm so ready. I need that energy. I need that boost because it just something about creativity and laughing and playing. There's nothing better than that, you know?
Do you guys have something big planned for when you're together?
Yeah. So
Talk about it?
I went and bought 6 giant 16-foot slabs of maple, like live edge slabs, from a local guy down my street. And he cut me a deal. I got a smoking deal on all of that wood. Like, I paid so little for it. I couldn't say no. But the problem to it is that they're like rough slabs. Like, it was literally cut right off the tree, and it's like, good luck. So I've had to cut them all down into workable lumber, and I still have to plane them, and I got to run them through the jointer still. And then we're gonna transform those into my new office desktop. So, like, I'm sitting kind of in my office right now, but it's like a mess. This is what my office looks like across the screen. So it's like, soon we're gonna be creating like a U shape desk. Well, actually, it's more of like a G. We're making a G. Desk that's going to be in this space, and I just needed help. Like, these slabs are huge, so I needed a friend who's just going to help me do that, which I'm really excited about.
That's so cool. And of course,
it looks so good. Say it again.
I said, of course, you're going to make content.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, we already been like talking about some reels that we want to make. Well, we always go into it saying we're definitely going to make these reels, and then we make one shot, and then that's it. we just forget, or just, like, I don't know. We also we just have fun, and that's the joy out of it. It's like, it's nice when you can get together with another creator who kind of lives in that space and loves to, because it's weird creating content with people who don't get it, I guess. If that, does that make sense? Like, you're like, if you're with your mom and you're like, hey mom, I'm just gonna throw up my phone, and we're just gonna film us doing this. They're like, why? Like, don't, like, get the phone out of my face. But like, you go with your creator friends, and everyone's like, yeah, slap that thing up. Like, let's make a reel, or let's have fun, and let's get on front of the camera. So it's a nice change in energy to be around that, and we just have the best time. I'm excited to laugh.
Good.
I need that. Yeah.
I love it.
Me too.
Okay, so we have made it 1 hour and 1 minute into the show, which means we need to take another lap through our sponsors real quick, but this is going to be the condensed version. One more shout out to Hannah and the team over at Surf Prep. There's lots of ways to get your wood nice and smooth. And let me tell you, if you want your wood to have the best hand feel possible, look no further than Surf Prep sanders and their abrasives. If you want to get into the nooks and crannies while you're polishing that wood, the 3x4 wiggle sander from Surf Prep and its vibrating action will give you the finest finish and the best hand feel. Hannah, thank you for your support over at Surf Prep. Layla, thank you for hosting us over at Casey Bombshell Design. Take your cool stuff, get in touch with Jessie or myself or Mike or Kimani or Hanover at Surf Prep if you have to. Get involved with Makers for St. Jude. Make your cool stuff. Do great stuff for people who need your help. And finally, hey, we have a Patreon. Every time that somebody signs up for the Sawdust Talk Patreon, a sander gets plugged in, right? It's not an angel getting wings, but somebody gets buffed. I'm just saying. Okay. So that brings us to the final question. And every week we ask our guests to give a motivational thought or a quote or maybe something that gets you excited to get up in the morning or to get out of bed or to kick open the door of your own workshop, pick up a tool, make a mess, or just get awesome. What would you like to share with the viewers and the listeners?
I always have one thing that I love to tell people, and it's super cheese, but I love it. So I always tell people to love your magic, because the magic is in you. You are your magic. Your creativity is magic, and love it, embrace it, express it, and own it. And then be proud of it. So that's what I always say. Tell people to love their magic.
That gives me the fuzzy.
And is this your merch?
This is my merch. Yeah, it's my Love Your Magic. And then on the back side, it's got a little, it's super cutesy. It's just always teaching people to embrace embrace themselves and not be afraid to be nerdy or be geeky or build the silly things, because that's the fun stuff. You know what I mean? That's what makes the world a little bit lighter, a little bit more unique. You know, we don't we need more of it.
I adore you. You are a sparkle
Thanks.
in the maker community, and I'm so glad that I got to spend some time with you at Maker Camp this year.
Me
So
too.
I can't wait to see you again. I know I won't see you next week, but we will be at Maker Camp again this year. So super stoked for that. For all our listeners, thank you for joining us for episode 147 with Danie and TJ.
Well, we'll see you all maybe next week, maybe live from Workbench Con. There's about a 20% chance, but let's stay optimistic, and we'll say not quite same bad time, but definitely same bad channel.
Okay. Bye, guys.
Bye,
See you.
guys.